Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. We are here, Danny
and Charlotte
from the Lasser Cast, and we're going to be basic bitches on YouTube today. It's Friday the 13th. We are dressed the part, and we're going to go through the entire
There goes one
Friday
of
the 13th series. I got it. And we are going to do what they all do on YouTube, some basic bitch stuff. We're going to do a franchise ranking, and I want to shout out this gorgeous Scream Factory box set that I got at the beginning of COVID. Charlotte, despite being around 9 to 10 when we started watching them, has watched all the movies with the exception of the remake. She has her reasons. What are your reasons?
I'm just lazy. I don't want to watch it.
She's just lazy and she doesn't want to watch it. It's okay. I've been like that with horror movies before.
Just like, not right now.
She made it through the first 11 movies in the series, and so her ranking will only be 11 movies deep. My ranking will feature all the films, of course, and we'll be showing off. We'll be using the boxes. So here, why don't you go first? So here, I'll take this, and while you organize them based on your list. Okay. So one thing I want to just say right off the bat, and this is going to happen for you, I'm sure, because you've only seen these movies.
I can't find them.
They're in order. You've only seen these movies one time straight through.
Yes.
I feel like my ranking of the Friday the 13th movies has probably changed more than any of the big-time horror franchise rankings that I have. My Halloween franchise ranking is pretty much set in stone, and if I were to rewatch them completely from the OG 78 Halloween until Halloween Kills, the remake, they're pretty much going to be in that same order that I always have them. Same with the Nightmare on Elm Street films. The Friday the 13th, though, I don't know what it is. I feel like I have a different ranking every single time I watch them. Including this time, where a movie that I used to have all the way at the bottom of my list has made it all the way up towards the top. Which one did you drop? Oh, you dropped your... Oh my God. Oh my God. Can you... Come on.
You gave it 3 million movies. Continue, please.
All right. Hopefully I won't have to order a new Scream Factory set after Charlotte's done dropping them all.
Thank you.
So, do you want to start? This one's the bonus material. We don't
Just
need to...
hold the rest and give me the ones I say.
So, all right.
I'm starting from the least.
You're starting from the bottom.
Starting from the bottom of my list.
Okay, so this is, in your opinion, this is your least favorite Friday the 13th movie.
It was a very close tie between part 5 and part 9. Though I had to go with part 5. Part 5 was just like, no. They brought Jason back, but it wasn't Jason. So it kind of felt like the first movie all over again. It was just really weird. And yeah, they brought Tommy back, but he didn't really act as awesome as part 4 and part 6.
Oh,
no,
in part 5?
Bad, but yeah. He kicked, he's like a wrestler.
Yeah, he was also...
Okay, so that's...
There you go. So
11.
That's number 11 for yours. Now...
You're going to kill me.
I'm not going to kill you. It's your list, your opinion.
Number 9. I hate number 9 so much.
Jason Goes to Hell.
It was just no.
Can I ask you a question? Is your main problem with this movie that Jason isn't really in the movie?
Well, kind of, yes. And it's kind of stupid. It's like a mix of aliens and Jason and everything like that just mixed together into one movie.
Although it
just kind of goes off track of every movie.
Okay. It does have an ending that's pretty famous, though.
That's the only reason why under part 5 because it sets up for Freddy versus Jason, which I honestly don't really hate.
Okay.
Now my next is part 3. I didn't really like part 3. It was just like no.
Yeah.
I did like the 3D though.
Okay.
Shelly's
I'm not gonna.
dead!
I'm not. Oh my god, the acting in that scene.
Oh, that's exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah, they put those
Shelly's
stoner.
dead!
The movie is supposed to be about these like teenagers or early 20-somethings going away to, you know, Crystal Lake, and they have these 2 stoner friends who look like they're in their 50s, who are just there for comedy relief.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right, so you're 3 in, not about part 3. Now, what else do you got? What's your...
I got Manhattan. Well, Jason Takes Manhattan. I didn't really dislike this movie, not I liked part 5 or part 9.
Okay.
But it's not good, not at all.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. First of all, it's not even Manhattan. They spent more than half of the movie on a freaking boat.
A freaking boat. Yeah.
Like
they spend. I think they spend 8 minutes of screen time. It's like 8 or 10 minutes of screen time out of 90.
One of the only good
Manhattan.
scenes in that movie is when, the boxer dude and Jason are on the top of the roof.
Julian.
And they're Julius.
Julius
And they're just
getting
like, give me what you got. And then Jason just like
punching.
his head
Yeah.
just flies off.
That is a legit
and it goes bye-bye.
great scene. But to me that's probably the only great scene in Jason Takes Manhattan. There's Final Chapter.
And next, oh god, everyone's gonna hate me. I'm sorry. It's part 1. I'm sorry.
The OG.
The OG.
I don't actually think people are gonna hate you for this because I think Friday the 13th is one of those franchises where people realize that the original, while it helps create a lot of the legend.
That episode of History of Horror. Sequels are pretty good.
Yeah, I think that there are a bunch of the sequels that do things that are better than the original movie. I love parts of the original, but the original's never really been close to the top of my list. I always kind of feel like it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at your list.
Freddy versus Jason.
Here.
Now I know compared to the first one, people are going to be like, what? But everyone loves the last 20 minutes. And what can you... Yeah, this movie was not great, but what can you go wrong with Freddy?
You can't. Freddy is my all-time favorite slasher.
I know we're talking about Jason, but seriously, Freddy's the best.
Yeah.
Though I did hate all that slow motion, it made me feel like I was about to throw up.
Yeah. I didn't like some of the stuff, the way it was filmed. But what I will say is Freddy vs. Jason is another one of those movies where if you would have asked me 10 years ago to do my Friday the 13th ranking, it would have been in a very different spot than it is now. Now it's much, I won't spoil my list, but it's in a very different place. So I'm looking at your list. Here's your next one.
Jason X. From the first time I watched...
So this is, I'm sorry, I don't want to, but this is Charlotte's top 5 now. Top 5 Friday the 13th movies, not counting the remake, which she hasn't seen. Mm-mm. So go ahead. We start with, tell us about, why do you like Jason X?
So Jason X is number 5 on my list. I learned since the first time I watched this that I love this movie. It's not bad and it's not great. It's like another mix of Aliens and Jason, but instead of part 9, there's no little slithering alien around.
Yeah.
And it's just Bad But Jason, new update, crazy. And the robot girl.
Oh, KM. KM.
She's so cool, especially when she gets her upgrade.
Yeah, I love the fact that this is another movie where if you watch this movie expecting it to be just
Crystal Lake.
yeah, just like a typical entry in a slasher movie franchise, you're gonna think it's terrible. But if you just go with the craziness of Jason in space, I think it's a good Jason in space movie. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is now you're into your final four, your top four.
Now,
so here we go.
Part 6. I didn't really like Part 6.
You put it number 4 on your list.
I didn't like love it.
Okay.
It was really good, but I didn't like, oh my god, my favorite movie ever.
Okay.
Though I do like how Tommy returns once again. It actually explains how Jason appears back in this world.
Yeah, it's the movie that takes us from
a fake Jason.
Well, yes, but I was gonna say it's the movie that takes us from a human being, like deformed human being who is just really strong and murders people, Jason, to zombie monster Jason because he's literally brought back from the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of those movies where
it's pretty much like a one zombie movie.
Yeah. And it would be the Jason that we got for the rest of the series because I mean
except Jason X.
Well, yeah, of course. I also got to shout out CJ Graham. This is his only Jason movie. CJ Graham, one of the nicest guys I ever met at a horror convention. I think he was the first Monster Mania I ever went to, probably back in 2003 or 4. He was one of the first people I ever met. Super cool guy. And I don't want to spoil things, but this movie's pretty high on my list, and I always consider him to be near the top of my Jason performers ranking. Okay.
So I like this movie. This movie sits with me.
All right. Number 3.
People are gonna be like, "What?" But Part 7.
Hey.
What?
Yeah,
oh, I didn't even know that was Part 7. Part 7 is cool, and I know not a lot of people like love it. Oh, it's getting hot in here. This jersey's hot. It's pretty much like if you mix Carrie into the Jason movie, pretty much like Carrie versus Jason.
Did you know that originally they wanted to do Freddy versus Jason for this movie?
For this movie?
But they couldn't get the two studios. That one studio owned Jason.
That's why they did Jason X after
that. Yes, yeah,
Part
that's.
9.
But also that was why they decided that if they can't do Freddy versus Jason, they'll do Jason versus like another horror icon. And like you said, it pretty much was Carrie versus Jason, even though it was Tina.
Yeah. I love this movie. I love Tina, and I always wanted to have like powers like Tina or like 11 from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
It was always like my dream, even though it's never gonna happen unless future awaits.
Yep.
Next on my list is part number 2. I love part 2. I love Ginny. I love
the best final girl.
Paul. And I like Jason in this movie, even though he still doesn't have the hockey mask. Though he has a bag, and it's finally the reveal of Jason. Like his mother's dead, and he's come back for vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like really love this movie.
Yeah. So that leaves one more. Your all-time number 1 Friday the 13th.
Final chapter.
It's the final chapter.
So I love Tommy Jarvis so much.
Yep.
I love the actor.
Corey Feldman, who you also saw him in Goonies and The Lost Boys.
And a whole bunch of other movies that I don't even know, but yeah.
I was just thinking of movies you know him from. But yeah, Tommy Jarvis, Corey Feldman definitely helps solidify part 4 as one of the all-timers.
I like the end where he's like, Jason, and shaves his head.
Yeah. And just, I mean, the fact that Jason actually dies in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was
It
in
was
theory,
supposed to be the final chapter.
And, you know, they legitimately, Tom Savini special effect always sticks with me, no pun intended, the machete in the side of the face.
And there's a funny scene right here where Jason jumps out of the window and attacks Tommy Jarvis, that wasn't fake.
Oh,
His
yeah.
reaction on a website or something I watched about this movie, he said that wasn't a fake reaction. They didn't tell him that it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I just imagine me like being there, I'd die.
I'm going to just point out one thing, and
Oh, he's getting something.
well, we're ranking the Friday the 13th franchise, but one thing that we haven't talked about, and you haven't watched this in full yet, but if you haven't had a chance to check out Crystal Lake Memoirs, directed by Daniel Farrens, who also did the amazing Never Sleep Again documentary about the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, that is a 6-hour.
Didn't I watch a little bit of this?
I think you might have walked in and like stayed for a few minutes because it's 6 hours. So it goes into in-depth with background and interviews with everyone, producers, directors, cast members, the Jason actors, about the making of this whole franchise. Crystal Lake Memories. I said Memoirs before. Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th.
You said Memoirs?
Yeah. This was streaming on Shudder. I don't know if it still is, but check it out. If you haven't seen this, if you're a fan of this franchise, and I'll tell you what, even if you're not a fan of this franchise, it is a tremendous horror documentary worth checking out. This is probably at the top of my Friday the 13th ranking list, but I won't count it because it's not technically a member of the franchise. So now it's my turn. I think you had a pretty good list, and my list is not crazy different than yours. In fact, only really one movie from your list that was at the bottom is close to the top on my list. So I will do what Charlotte did, and I will start at the bottom.
This time I will give you the movies and try not to drop it.
Yes, thank you.
Here,
Here
put
you
them in
go.
my lap. So.
All right. My number 12, as in my last
Because he has
place,
a remake.
worst movie in the franchise. And this, for me, is not even close. It is not even close. In fact, I will go so far as to say, the last time I did a franchise rewatch, I hate it. The last time I did a franchise rewatch with Charlotte, we watched the first 11 movies. I actually gained an appreciation for every single movie in this franchise except one, and it's Jason Takes Manhattan. I hate this movie.
Hates this movie.
When we were watching it together, I decided I'm going to make a list as the movie's playing of all the things that I hate about this movie. I'm not going to read you that list, but I'm just going to point out that it's double-sided.
There's 2 pages.
And it went to number 38. I was able to write down 38 things that I hate about this movie in 90 minutes. Charlotte mentioned it with her list. The title of the movie is an outright lie. Jason does not take Manhattan. He takes a boat. He also takes a boat out of a lake. There's no sense of geography in this movie at all. The characters are bad. The final girl is bad.
The final girl's pretty cute.
It's there's almost no gore in the movie whatsoever.
Yeah, no gore. No gore at all.
We mentioned it when Charlotte was talking about it.
The only scene we appreciate.
Yes, the only good character in the movie is Julius, and the only good death scene in this movie, the only memorable moment of this movie is Julius breaking his hands, bloody knuckled on the rooftop, and getting Jason to the edge of the roof before Jason just grabs him and gives him the one-punch KO. But that was it. Aside from that, yeah, I can't even hide it. I hate that movie. So now let's move on to the movies I don't hate. Part 5.
You still kind of hate them.
No, I don't. I don't like them. I wouldn't call Part 5 a good movie, but I don't hate it. Like, if you said to me, can we watch part 5? I'd be like, all right, let's watch it. If you said, let's watch part 8, I'd be like, you're not my daughter anymore.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I would never say that. Part 5, again, the Roy Burns thing, it hurts the movie. Especially because not that it's a copycat Jason, it's just such a weak character reveal. The deaths, there are a few cool deaths in the movie, but the director of the movie was kind of sleazy, and there's, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I do like that it continued the Tommy Jarvis story, and I will say that if you're going to take parts 4, 5, and 6 and watch them together as the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, that makes part 5 infinitely better. It's still towards the bottom of my list, though.
It's kind of like the Nancy trilogy.
Yeah, except every movie in the Nancy trilogy is actually great.
Oh, speaking of the Nancy
trilogy, a movie that has fallen down my list in recent years. When I saw this movie in the movie theater, I cheered, I clapped, I applauded. I had waited for this movie most of my life. It's Freddy vs. Jason. And as time has gone on and I've rewatched it, I realize that this movie is effectively a really great 20-minute fight scene between Freddy and Jason, surrounded by about an hour and 5 minutes of some of the absolute worst characters and movie.
By fire and Jason dies by water. How can we use that?
Yes, that's an actual line written in the movie. Also, there's this hilarious moment where just the idea of Jason is scared of water, even though for 11 movies
Manhattan, he swims.
He swims.
He comes
across.
Out of the lake.
Yeah, he swims all over the place. In part 6, he walks out into the water. In part 4, he's underwater pulling the girl down, pulling the guy down into the water and stabbing the girl up through the raft.
In part 3, he goes in the water.
Freddy is good, but a lot of the dialogue has not aged well.
Got your nose.
Yeah, I want to love Freddy vs. Jason, but it's really not good. Moving up to number 9, or moving up towards number 9, another movie that I can watch. It's perfectly fine as a slasher movie. It's part 3. I know that this movie is high on many people's lists because of it's the movie he gets the hockey mask. Really, that's the most important thing in this movie. The characters...
It honestly wasn't that bad, except for poor acting and just, like, weirdness.
Yeah, I don't love the final girl in this movie. There's also this weird subplot where she was that kind of paints Jason as, like, this sexual assaulter who, like, tries to attack her in her, like... She has memories of Jason attacking her.
And they copy the ending of the first movie.
Basically, every part of this movie is a copy. They copy the plot line of part 2. They copy the ending of part 1. If he doesn't get his hockey mask, I think this movie's a lot lower on a lot of people's lists. Moving up to number 8. We've said it already. It's Jason X. This movie features one of the greatest Jason kills, if not the best Jason kill. Adrienne getting her face frozen in the liquid nitrogen and then shattered on the desk.
Cool.
That death scene is so great that it's listed.
Nitrogen.
That scene is listed on
best Jason kills.
Not just best Jason kills, but like best horror movie deaths ever.
Or best makeup skill.
Yeah. Aside from that, yeah, it's an early 2000s horror movie in space. It is a little corny. The special effects are dated. The ending really doesn't make sense. But if you just play around with the idea of Jason in space, it's a perfectly fun little movie. Moving up to number 6 on my list. Oh, it's
the remake.
It's the remake. What?
Should I go for this?
You should watch the remake. I think.
Should I go? Because I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, I won't give any spoilers. I mean, it's a Friday the 13th movie. There are not a lot of spoilers. The one thing that is genuinely great about this movie, the opening 15 minutes, where it basically takes the plot lines of parts Jason's 1 through 4 and kind of melds them together into one movie. I love Derek Mears as Jason. I think Derek Mears is terrific. If they ever make another Friday the 13th movie, they should bring Jason Mears. They should bring Derek Mears back because he's fantastic. I've met him at horror conventions. Wonderful guy. I've never heard a bad word about him from anyone who's ever met him. And he was a great Jason, and he's a very different Jason than anything else. And that's one thing I will give this movie credit for. Versus the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which was awful. This movie toys with the character a little bit. It gives you something a little bit different. And I like it if you're going to remake a movie, do something a little bit different. You can...
Okay. Yay!
Okay. We're moving on. Number 6. We're almost at the top 5. Number 6 is the movie whose shirt I'm repping. It's Kane Hodder's debut. It's part 7. We talked about it already.
That's also a reason why I like it. It's Kane Hodder's debut. One of the most famous.
Charlotte met Kane Hodder
and I choked him.
Yeah.
And
he has
touched my head.
We have a picture of him crushing her head, and then he said, "Why don't we get a picture of her choking me?"
Choke me.
I've met Kane Hodder several times at horror conventions. He's one of those guys where even though you've met him once, you feel compelled to go back and meet him again because he's such a engaging person.
Is that the one I met Kelly at? Not Kelly, well, yeah.
That was the one you met Alex Vincent and Christina
Alex
Lees, and then Chris Sarandon and David Naughton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That one, I like that.
Oh, no. You met Kelly, Dana DiLorenzo at the next Monster Mania.
Which was my last one.
Yes.
Since.
Charlotte's been to 3 Monster Mania so far, and we're going, hopefully, to a 4th one this summer. But yeah, part 7, we said everything about it. I do love John Carl Buechler, and I'm upset that as a makeup artist, as an effects artist, he wasn't able to get all of his bloody kills got just hacked by the MPAA.
Yeah. Was that the movie with the sleeping bag?
Yes, it's the sleeping bag kill.
They made like 8 sleeping bag hits to the tree and cut it off.
Yeah. But I like the fact that it only took 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
To show how strong he is.
We are in top 5 territory here now.
5!
So let's see. So first thing is, compared to Charlotte's list, I think we have 3 of the same movies in the top 5.
Yeah.
But I'll go with number 5, and it's a movie that used to be further down on my list and has since moved up a little bit, and it's the original. I never really cared about the original movie. To me, the original movie was a 80 minminutes of boring horror, slasher horror, with a great surprise ending, with Betsy Palmer as Pamela Voorhees.
Oh, Betsy Palmer. Robert.
After watching it again with Charlotte, I've gained, after like my 20th viewing of the original Friday the 13th, I have really started to appreciate it more. I used to think of it as just a purely derivative Halloween ripoff, but it does do a lot of original things. I will give it credit for that. The Kevin Bacon kill is fantastic. The music by Harry Manfredini is the star of the movie. Absolutely the star of the movie is Harry Manfredini's score, which would become, of course, the score throughout. And yeah, I really appreciate the movie more now than I did when I was younger. So good on the original. The final 4, and this one is going to shock people. Charlotte is offended and she's walking away. But I have come, after many, many years of this movie being at the bottom of my list, I have kind of come to love Jason Goes to Hell. And I'll tell you why. It has to do with the director, Adam Marcus. I was, when I got this gorgeous Scream Factory box set,
beautiful.
I watched all the movies with all the bonus features, and also Crystal Lake Memories, of course. And it, even though as a kid, I always recognized that's the Necronomicon and
the Necronomicon
and the Evil Dead dagger are in the movie. In fact, that's what the final girl, she stabs Jason with the Evil Dead dagger. I never put two and two together until I heard Adam Marcus say it in an interview. And what he said that has convinced me to reevaluate and move this movie up my list is that Jason is a Deadite. And that Mrs. Voorhees used the Necronomicon to conjure up her son who drowned in Crystal Lake. And Adam Marcus actually, came up with a thorough line of plot from the original movie all the way to this bonkers body horror.
That's also why I put it not last.
Not last.
But I still don't really love it.
Listen, the movie has a ton of issues. The movie still has a ton of issues that I fully get. You go to see a Jason movie where Jason is barely in it.
Even in it.
I get it. I have very close friends who I've been friends with for years. James. James even said, he's like, I can't put it high on the list. I love Jason, and Jason's not in it. I didn't pay to see...
You see Jason,
the
once
guy
or
from the
twice.
morgue commit murders, or, the cop or the politician who get possessed by the spirit of Jason. Another reason I love this movie, I've always liked this character, Creighton Duke.
Creighton Duke.
Yeah, played by Stephen Williams. He's fantastic. The movie just has this... It's gory as heck. It's got the tent sequence, which is one of my all-time favorite kills.
And...
Yeah, the movie has its issues.
The ending.
Yes, and then, of course, there's the fact that Jason is dragged to hell by Freddy Krueger. Yeah, I've reevaluated that movie. I don't think it's bad. I definitely think it has its issues. I definitely don't think it's the best Friday the 13th movie. But
it would be a very funny...
I definitely enjoy it more now.
A funny silent killer movie. Michael Myers versus Jason.
Yeah.
Just two guys,
They've made some great fan films on YouTube, where fans make the movies and they dress up as the characters. You should check those out.
Okay.
Top three, everybody.
I'm
And you've
mad.
probably guessed the top three for now.
I'm mad.
Charlotte's mad at me. This was her number one. But it's my number three. It's close to the top.
It's good, but it's Tommy Jarvis.
It's also the greatest dance scene in the history of movies.
And the guy from Back to the Future.
Yes. The amazing Crispin Glover dance sequence in this movie. Love Corey Feldman as Tommy Jarvis. I love Kimberly Beck as his sister, who becomes the final girl. The movie, my biggest problem with the movie, especially rewatching it with Charlotte, is that every single character in this movie has one motivation, and it's sex. That's it. There's no plot development at all. It's just, hey, let's all go to this big house in the woods so that we can get it on, and oh crap, Jason's there. And that's the entire movie. That being said, it's probably the best of the formula Friday the 13th movies out there. With the exception of this one, my number two is...
Number two.
This is one of my best examples of a sequel improving on the original in every single way, with the exception of the ending. The ending of part one is fantastic.
Of Jason's here.
I mean, I love that it subverts your expectations right off the bat.
Jason got off the plane and arrived.
I love that it subverts your expectations, because you have Alice, who survived part one. The movie starts with her. You think, oh, the final girl from the original is back. We're going to have her as our heroine throughout. And no, she's killed in the opening scene of the movie.
She ain't no
I love that this movie continues to subvert expectations. You have great kills in this movie. The guy in the wheelchair getting the machete to the face and then going down the steps. I know. You have the double Steve Miner, the director, stealing from Bay of Blood by Mario Bava, and you get the double pitchfork through the back scene. Some real great stuff in this movie. Jason being a wild mountain man with the burlap sack on his head, I think is pretty cool. I think that's what you would kind of... I love the fact that he has that little cabin where he has the shrine to his mother's body.
Yeah.
And you said it, best final girl in the entire Friday the 13th series. One of the great final girls of all time, Amy Steele as Ginny.
Ginny!
And one of my all-time favorite little tidbits is that there's a scene where Ginny and Paul are with their friend, the jokester, the prankster, and I don't know why I think his name is Tim, but they're at the bar drinking, and they say to Tim,
oh my God,
we're going back to the camp. You coming? And Tim goes, no, I'm gonna hang out here. And we never see Tim again.
See him again.
So part 2.
You know what would be great? If like the next movie they make about Friday the 13th,
We should make a movie about
back.
yes.
He just like randomly comes
This
back.
movie gives you the formula for how to survive a Friday the 13th movie.
Just don't go.
Just go to the bar. Just go to the bar and stay at the bar when your friends are like, hey, we're going to go. You say, no, I'm okay. I'm going to stay here and drink more. And you know what? You will survive getting killed by Jason. We should make a movie about Tim.
Yes.
I hope his name is Tim. Otherwise...
Well, that guy at the bar.
Yeah. He's the guy who jumps out and scares everybody at the fire pit scene, where they're telling the campfire stories.
Kind of looks like the Weasley twins.
Yes. And part 2 would be my favorite, if not for mine and many others' favorite in the series.
I like it, but I
yeah, well, he's back. He's the man behind the mask. Alice Cooper, almost like Dokken for Dream Warriors, a year earlier was Alice Cooper doing Man Behind the Mask. Tom McLaughlin, the director of this movie, does for the first time. They had made 5 of these movies in a 6-year period, and they are all formula slasher movies. Part 6 was the movie that completely deviates from the formula.
I have to say, I love part 6.
You even brought this up to me the other day. You said this is my 11-year-old daughter, by the way. She wore a Friday the 13th jersey to school today.
No one else wore.
I know, it's fine. You got to represent. Got to celebrate the holidays. And not only did she wear her Friday the 13th jersey, but she also just randomly says things like, you know, I liked in part 6 when the gravedigger breaks the 4th wall.
Yeah.
Like, she knows, I've done a good job with you.
I'm in theater class, Dad.
That is true. Oh, okay. I thought it was me being a good parent. It turns out you're just...
It is, but...
Oh, okay.
I also act.
Yeah. You get the gravekeeper talking at the screen. You have those three. You have those the goofballs playing paintball in the woods, who all get killed by Jason. You have the amazing beginning where Tommy digs up Jason's corpse and he gets struck by lightning and he comes back as zombie Jason. It's the first and only movie in the series that has kids at the camp.
Kids at the camp!
Which Dead Meat actually uses for their intro.
What do you think?
I think we're dead meat.
I think we're dead meat.
The little girl who's praying as Jason stands over her and Jason disappears. I mean, it is brilliant. I love the ending.
Other than Tommy Jarvis, he doesn't kill kids. Well, doesn't try at least.
Yeah, but I love the ending with him dragging Jason out into the middle of the water and wrapping the chain around his neck.
It was teenagers, right? It was like these teenager counselors, or not counselors, like these weird teenager or like preteen kids who threw him in the lake.
Yeah, it was the counselors, yeah. So that's my list. Always and Forever, Part 6 is my favorite. But like I said, with the exception of Part 8, I pretty much like all these movies. They're just easy to watch. There's no movie in the series that goes on too long. They're all about 90 minutes. So yeah.
Though I disagree very much about
Part 9.
Part 9.
That's true.
I think we agree.
This has been a long video, but hey, it's Friday the 13th. I thought we should do something fun and special for the day. So if you're bored later tonight and you're done watching your movies, yeah, throw on our YouTube video and check it out. Pete and Brian and I just put up a video where we talk about Doctor Strange, directed by Sam Raimi, Multiverse of Madness, and whether or not it was too scary and gateway horror.
It's directed by Sam Raimi.
I know. And other horror that we can find in the MCU. We had a great talk yesterday. Yeah. That video is up on the channel. Charlotte and I have a review of Stranger Things Season 3, and we're prepping ourselves for Season 4 coming up. I did a review of the original 1984 Firestarter, and we're going to watch the new one, which is streaming on Peacock. We're going to watch the new one. I haven't heard great things, but all right, if it's bad, we'll say bad things about it. I don't know. So yeah, we have a bunch of stuff up on the channel. Pete and I are going to be back later this month to talk Stranger Things. Pete's going to have a book review coming up, and hopefully we're going to have some really cool interviews coming up too. So happy Friday the 13th. Remember, try not to go camping tonight. And if you do, don't do the thing that you do when you're alone, because, you know, exactly.